$500 billion.
OPL 245.
OPL 245.
That's how much this small patch of ocean was supposed to earn Nigeria.
Known as OPL 245.
But instead it became a crime scene. 9 billion barrels of oil buried beneath the waves, and what should have been our nation's jackpot became the world's dirtiest oil deal.
Biggest scandals in the history of the oil industry.
This area, Block 245, carries a scandal that is more than just any corruption story.
This is systemic corruption.
It's a 20-year-old heist soaked in lies, bribes, and betrayal.
Acts of conspiracy, bribery, official corruption, and money laundering.
And it may be the reason Nigeria's oil riches may never reach our people.
To seize this large OPL 245 structure
This is a story of how $1.3 billion disappeared in what has become the world's biggest oil fraud case. This is how Nigeria's richest oil block was stolen.
Bribes were paid in an effort to secure
$1 billion purchase of OPL 245 in 2011 included active conspiracy, bribery, official corruption, and money laundering.
Let's go. Let's talk about oil. You see, everyone calls this blood, and you can understand why when you look at countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, or Qatar. But then there's Nigeria, Africa's #1 oil producing nation, and we're stuck with this. You think it's because we don't produce as much oil as the other nations, but that's wrong. Because in the 1980s, Nigeria was the 7th largest producer of oil in the world. So what happened? Okay, story time. Oil was discovered in Nigeria in 1956, and for about 30 years after that, only foreign companies could actually benefit from this newfound treasure. Only companies like Shell had the capacity to extract and refine and trade this oil. So Nigeria had a lower share of the revenue generated from oil sales and less control over the industry. But no, that's not why we're stuck. You see, in 1991, the government initiated the Indigenous Concession Program, and the idea was simple: to give Nigerians an opportunity to profit as well. It was a good move, yeah? But rather than award oil blocks based on open bids or how well people knew the industry, they were given off as gift packs to the elites and friends of the high and mighty. Men like Mike Adenuga, the Oni of Ife, and MKO Abiola were beneficiaries of this scheme. That was the start of the kind of corruption that has crippled the industry to date. But in 1998, the dirtiest deal was about to happen. Before we go to 1998, look at this map. It shows all oil-related activities happening around the world, including Nigeria. And right around this point is OPL 245, our bone of contention for this story. It's about 150 kilometers away from land, and this yellow means as of 2024, there's still no production activity happening there, unlike the red regions. Experts say this block prospectively holds about 9.2 billion barrels of crude oil and could generate revenues of up to 500 billion. Just this block contains a quarter of all of Nigeria's crude oil. As of 2006, Shell had already found up to 1.3 billion barrels ready to be drilled. So what's the holdup? Well, we have to go back to 1998.
Consequently, the state executive councils are dissolved, all local governments stand dissolved. The National Electoral Commission is hereby dissolved. The two political parties are hereby dissolved.
So it's 1998. Nigeria is ruled by General Sani Abacha, a military dictator. General Abacha's regime is known for many shady deals, but OPL 245 was the wildest of them all. And this man, Dan Etete, was the architect. Etete was the petroleum minister in Abachas' cabinet, and every oil block assignment was confirmed from his table. On April 24, 1998, a new company was registered, and it was called Malabu Oil and Gas Limited. On April 29th, that company was awarded the oil prospecting license for Block 245. Okay, so Block 245, OPL 245. I know this is getting kind of confusing. So let me help you here. An oil prospecting license, or OPL for short, is like an access card the government gives to a company to check if there is oil in a particular location. Now that location can be on land or in the sea, but whichever one it is, those locations are called blocks. So OPL 245 basically refers to the license that was given to Malabu in this case to check if there's oil at block 245. Got it? Okay, cool. So this block, that's 245, was awarded to Malabu Oil and Gas just 5 days after it was registered. And get this, without employees, a real office, or any history in the oil industry. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but it gets worse. Usually when the government issues a new license, there's a fee. It's called the signature bonus. In 1998, that fee was $20 million, and it had to be paid upfront before the license could be awarded. But Malabu only paid $2 million, and they got the license. But they couldn't do anything on the block. Remember, no experience. So they reached out to Shell, and later that year they struck a deal. They will give Shell 40% ownership stake in OPL 245, and in return, Shell will cover the remaining $18 million and handle the cost of exploration on the block. Now, Shell liked the deal, but they did not sign off immediately. They had to verify if Malabu really owned the license. In April 2021, they were convinced, and payment was made. The deal was sealed, but the Nigerian government never received the funds. And in 3 months, the drama would escalate. Hey, hi. I had a swell time making this video, and I hope you're having a swell time watching it as well. But I really need your help right now. I want to be able to keep making videos like this all the time for my enjoyment, yeah, and yours. So, could you do me a little favor and just hit the subscribe button if you've not hit it yet, and maybe share with 1 or 2 people too. That would be really nice. Thank you. Let's get back to the video.
I, Olusegun Obasanjo, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
Once Obasanjo got into power in 1999, he started looking into the activities of the Abacha regime. Now, Abacha was publicly corrupt, so it makes sense why he would do that.
This is our money. We have proven that it is our money. Freeze the account and repatriate the money in the account. And if anything has to be chased from that account, we expect that we will chase the money to wherever it has gone and get the money back to Nigeria.
And not too long after, Obasanjo started revoking licenses. That year alone, he revoked 31 OPLs, but OPL 245 wasn't one of them. In fact, the government confirmed that Malabu actually owned the rights to OPL 245 and even gave a go-ahead to explore the block. This was what even convinced Shell to come on board in the first place. But in July 2001, shortly after Shell came on board, Obasanjo revoked OPL 245 and transferred ownership to the NNPC. And then they invited ExxonMobil and Shell to bid for the license. And guess who won the bid? In 2002, Shell was awarded the license and were asked to pay a new signature bonus, $210 million, and this time for 100%. Till today, that's the largest signature bonus ever paid for any oil block in Nigeria, but Shell did not pay it at the time. You'll see why in a moment. So, an oil block awarded in 1998 is revoked from the owners. There's $210 million on the table, and Shell is the new kid in the block. What could possibly go wrong? Everything went wrong.
OPL 245, an oil field believed to be the largest in Africa with over 9 billion barrels of crude, was said to have been fraudulently acquired from the federal government by Malabu Oil and Gas Limited in 1998, and afterwards offered to oil giants Shell and Eni in an alleged shady deal.
Malabu was pissed. As if having their license revoked was not enough, the government had to reassign it to Shell, their former partner. They had to do something. So Malabu started a petition at the House of Representatives and went to court against the Nigerian government and Shell. They wanted their block back. The House of Representatives said the government acted in bad faith and should return the oil block back to Malabu. Shell did not like this development, and so they stalled. Of the $210 million, they only paid $1 million and kept the rest in the JP Morgan escrow account while they watched to see who would win the battle. But this did not stop them from getting their hands dirty. They pumped millions of dollars into exploring the block, searching for oil, and they actually found lots of oil. But on the side, they dragged Malabu to court. Yeah, they were still salty about the 2001 deal. Malabu's case against the Nigerian government dragged out for 3 years, but in 2006, they won. Not in court though. In an out-of-court settlement, the Nigerian government agreed to return the block to Malabu, but at the cost of $218 million. Malabu agreed. The block was reassigned to Malabu, but they did not make the payments. This drama was taking shape. Shell felt cheated, and immediately they dragged the Nigerian government to an arbitration tribunal in the US. That tribunal stopped all work on Block 245, meaning no one could touch it, not Shell, not Malabu, not the Nigerian government. So Malabu had gotten what they wanted, but at a far greater cost. To let sleeping dogs lie, they reached out to Shell with a new offer for partnership. But this is where things began to unravel. See, while Shell was dealing with Nigeria at the US tribunal, another bomb went off. Malabu's owners were fighting. Let me show you something. So when the company was registered in 1998, it had 3 names on the documents: Mohammed Sani, Kweku Amafega, and Wabi Hassan. Wabi had 20% of all shares, Kweku had 30%, and Mohammed Sani had 50%. Now, Mohammed Sani was Abachas' son, and according to him, Kweku was manipulating the CAC to transfer control to himself and remove the Abacha family. Yeah, so it was around this time that the world would get to know that there was in fact no Kweku. See, Kweku Amafega was a fake name, and behind that fake name was Dan Etete, the same petroleum minister who had issued the license in 1998. This changed everything.
Israeli television, Channel 1. What is your reaction to the death of Sonny Abache?
I think he's a very lucky person, because his death, if it's a natural death, then he got a very graceful exit, because his death would have been very, very messy. It's an opportunity for the Nigerian civic society, an opportunity for the Nigerian military, an opportunity also for the international community.
When Abacha died in 1998, just 2 months after Opioid 245 was awarded, Dan Etete saw an opportunity. Everyone hated the Abachas, and with their patriarch gone, they were powerless. So Etete struck. In 10 months, he restructured the ownership of the company and kicked out Mohammed Abacha. And that was how his silent battle started for the ownership of Malabu Oil and Gas Limited. But in all this time, Dan Etete stayed in the shadows until 2010. You see, from 2006, when Malabu was reinstated as the owners of Opioid 245, everything was put on hold. Shell stopped working, cases dragged out in court, and money was leaking. And Etete was fed up, so he offered to sell. That same 2007, Malabu reached out to Shell for a partnership and also approached Nigerian Ajib Exploration, a local subsidiary of Eni. The talks with Eni subsidiary flopped because of the ongoing drama with Shell, and Shell was not ready to get into partnership with a Malabu that had no clear owner. Mohammed Sani was still in court trying to regain ownership of Malabu Oil and Gas, and at that time he was putting out statements asking people not to do business with the company. But Dan Etete wasn't the type to give up easily. His next move was to get middlemen to make the talks happen. So a fixer, Emeka Obi, went to work, and what followed was a sneaky payout of $1 billion.
So cases like this are rarely found out about. The deals can be done behind closed doors and no one knows necessarily where the money went. In this case, two of the middlemen hired to help make this deal go through both sued in British courts, trying to get commissions out of Dan Etete.
And just when it seemed like the drama had peaked, Etete came out of the shadows in 2010 and triggered a global storm. That's in part 2.